This is a dream to see this many faces in this room, so thank you all for coming out. My name is Peekaboo Pointe. I am the producer of this event. This is my baby because I want to hear what strippers have to say, and I have a lot of stories to tell, and I know all of my friends have stories to tell too. So here we are. We're all here to hear stripper stories, and thank you for showing up for us. One word of warning. This is your trigger warning. If you are sensitive about sexual acts in exchange for money, this might not be the room for you. So, with that, everybody stayed, so that's great. We are all friends. Cheers for you and your love of sex workers. Hooray. So this is, like I said, a passion project for me. I started doing this because I started noticing that a lot of our stories were being told for us, and I think it's time that we tell our own stories. So this is the mission of the show. Like I said in the flyer, if you read it, a portion of the proceeds tonight will be donated to Sex Workers Project. The Sex Workers Project is a nonprofit organization that provides legal defense for sex workers and all kinds of people who are in need of immigration support and legal defense. So, good cause. Strippers for the cause. With that, so if anybody's been coming, and I know a lot of you came last month, I made a promise of what story I was going to tell this month. And so I'm going to fulfill half of that promise. So I promised last month that I would tell the story of the first day I worked in a strip club and the last day I worked in a strip club. But when I was writing the story out, I realized that the first day is too long and it won't fit into the 10-minute time frame that I give everyone. So I have to stick to my own time frame. So it's just going to be the first day today, and then next month you can hear the last day. I just keep teasing you. Okay, so my first day stripping was quite a long time coming. So, like, I had been wanting to be a stripper my entire life, but had them on such a pedestal that I really didn't think that I could ever be good enough to be on that stage. And I was like, well, I have to prepare, I have to be good in my mind and my body, and like didn't realize that you could just walk in off the street and just kind of do the thing, which is now what I know like most people do. So I had this whole big narrative about it. And at the same time, so this is in 2007, I worked in my first club. And it was after doing burlesque for a few years. So I had already learned kind of like striptease like on this stage, and I was ready to take the next step. But in burlesque in that time, it feels really weird to talk about this sort of aspect, but it was really taboo in the burlesque community to work as a stripper. There was this big divide between burlesque dancers who worked in the club and then other burlesque dancers who were like, we are not strippers. And it was a big deal, and I felt really isolated. Even though I hadn't worked in a club yet, I knew that I wanted to, and I knew that that's where I was going, and that's where all of my like desire was. But I was in this burlesque community that told me that, no, well, you know, you can't do that. That's not what we do. And it's like, well, it is what we do. Like, I don't understand why this is such a big deal. So I felt like I had to keep it a secret. So my first day stripping was really just, it was all for me, which I think made it kind of more special, because I didn't feel like I could share it with my community, with the exception of some people, like Joe lives over there. But I didn't feel like I could widely talk about it. So I was working in this show, this burlesque show in Soho with the Pontani sisters. And if you know about the Pontani sisters, they're very like PG-13 burlesque, like very like cute go-go dancing. So I was in this very cute burlesque world, and I just wanted to be a fucking stripper. And so on my way I was taking a pole dancing class, because everything I did was leading up to where I ended up. And so I had this one teacher, and she drove me fucking crazy. I couldn't stand her, but I loved her at the same time. And she had this vocal fry that was just like, I couldn't hear, like, I was just like, I can't believe I love her class so much. And she was such a club stripper, and she was so just everything that, like, you think is like, she had her like 10-inch platforms on that pole, and she's like, yeah, all the time. And after class, I was like, do you work as a dancer? She's like, yes, of course I do. I was like, where? And she's like, I work at Sin City. It's in the Bronx. It's awesome. And I was like, okay, sign me up. Can I come? And I was just ready. It was like, there was just a moment that like light switch flipped on, and this girl was gonna take me to my dream job. And so it was like Thursday afternoon, and she worked the day shift, and she's like, the day shift's the best. It's the awesome. There's like these guys, they have a bus from Yankee Stadium, like bring all the guys over. Okay, cool. I love guys that love sports. I don't know. Like, I had no idea what I was walking into. But I got on the train, and I took my Sunset Park, Brooklyn living ass all the way up to the South Bronx. And I got off the train, and I walked into this terrifying cinder block building that said Sin City on the outside. And I don't know if anyone saw this club. This club looked like garbage on the outside, but inside it was like a palace. It was so beautiful. It was everything I'd ever wanted in a strip club. It was just like, there was like a gold pole on a platform on the side of the bar, and this giant stage with like a nice rail, and guys were just like sitting on the rail. It was a huge stage with another gold pole, and then there's like a balcony area with VIP dances, and then like, it was just gorgeous, like gorgeous. I think they actually used it in like Sex and the City or something. Like it's just this beautiful club. And so I walked in, and I was like, I was just checking it out. I'm just here checking it out. And Lauren's like, I'll buy you a drink. I was like, great. So I get there, and she's like, come with me, and we like go to the bathroom. It's noon. And she's like, do you want a bump? Oh. Okay. Sure. And so I go back out, and she's like, okay, so I really just thought I was going to be there watching. And she was like, let me go introduce you to the house mom. And I was like, cool, what's the house mom? And so she takes me to the back, and she introduces me to the house mom, and the house mom's like, do you have an outfit? And I was like, actually I do, because I have a gig tonight in burlesque, but it's just like this like fringy burlesque, like cutie go-go outfit. So that's what I had in my bag, and Lauren let me borrow her pleasers, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm doing this. And the house mom's like, yeah, sure, you can, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. She's like, yeah, what's your name? And I didn't even think about it. I was like, Peekaboo, it's Peekaboo. Because that was my burlesque name, but I remembered that I didn't want to strip as Peekaboo, but I told her my name is Peekaboo anyway. And so I tell the DJ, and she's like, go talk to the DJ. And I was like, okay, great. What do I talk to him about? And so I go up to the DJ, and I was like, hi, I'm supposed to talk to you. And he's like, yeah, what do you want to dance to? I was like, I don't care. And he was like, what? I don't care, like anything, just play anything for me. And so I'm sitting there, and we're figuring out what I'm going to dance to. And I think maybe I have some time, but I'm so nervous, but I don't have any time. And he taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, you're up. And I was like, this is what? I'm gonna stand on that giant stage, and this amazing woman just slayed that pole, and like, I was like, I am not ready. But he's like, next up on the main stage. And And I was like, okay, I guess I'm here. I'm going, I get up onto the stage and I go into immediate like burlesque go-go dancing mode, and I'm like, this is so cute. I'm cute. And then I realized like this isn't working, and there's guys on the rail, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with them? And all of this is going through my head, like, I am on a stage, this amazing stage, I'm working as, this is it, like I'm doing the thing, and it didn't even register that I'm like doing this thing that I had wanted to do for 10 plus years, and here I am, and I'm doing it. And so the first song ends, and I was like, okay, the second song is where you take your top off. So I like take my top off, and I was like, oh my God, that's it. And as soon as the top left, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in it. Like, this is it. I am here. I started to do all the pole tricks that Lauren was like, yeah. I was like, in it, like, doing the thing. There was a guy on the rail. I, like, crawled up to him, and I was like, oh, my God, it's working. He's giving me money. He's giving me money. Oh, my God, he's giving me money. Holy shit. And I just couldn't believe it, and I got off stage after my second time. I was like, oh my God, I did it, I fucking did it. And the house mom's like, great, yeah, you're hired. And I was like, are you serious? Oh my God, like losing my mind. And she's like, yeah, come into the back. So she comes into the back, and this club had actually like a really like technologically advanced hiring system, which I never saw ever again in my stripping career. And it like blows my mind when I look back on it, because I just thought this was like regular onboarding for strippers. So I fill out this thing. She's like, your name's Peekaboo. I was like, no, I don't want my name to be Peekaboo. Can I change it? And she's like, of course you can change it every day. Great. So I fill out my paperwork. She takes a photo, which is standard. Usually it's a creepy Polaroid that like the manager keeps in his desk. I don't know, but this was like in the computer. So like when you showed up to work, you like say like, my name was Lily. That was my stripper name forever. So like Lily's here, and like your face pops up on the computer. They're like, oh great, and it's computerized house fee. You're like, you're here at noon, so it's only $40. And like what, you know? So it's like really high tech, not any scene ever again. And then after I fill out my thing, she puts me into this tiny room, and it's like an office space in the room, and she puts a VHS in this little like Pornovision, you know, those like ones with like, back in the day with like the little 13-inch TV that had a VCR connected to it. They had one of those in the back room, the onboarding room. And it was this amazing onboarding video. Like, welcome to Sin City, the job of your life. And like this whole thing, and like explained how you could use the tanning beds, and how much the VIP rooms are, and how much the champagne rooms are, and like what the rules are, and all this, what you can do and can't do, and like, but it was all really funny. Like, it was like watching like this hilarious spoof of a like airline video. And at the end of it, this is the best part, is at the end of it starts, they have a clip of Chris Rock singing, there's no sex in the champagne room. And it's like the whole video just trails out, no sex in the champagne room, there's no sex in the champagne room. And I've been trying to find a copy of this video, and if anyone can find it for me, I will like make out with you. Because it's so funny, and I wish I could visually show it to everyone. So I watched this video, and then I realized I'm a stripper. I am finally a stripper, and so I go to my burlesque gig that night, and I walk out of the club, and I was like, and I couldn't tell anyone. So I couldn't tell anyone, I couldn't express how excited I was, like, this is like this dream, and like the next day I get to go to work at this fucking amazing club in the Bronx and learn how to do all of this stuff. And I couldn't tell anyone. I showed up at my gig, and I had this like extra swivel in my step. And everybody's like, what's going on? I was like, I just feel really great today. And it kind of shifted. It was the beginning of a shift in my performance in the burlesque world, and it really shifted the way that I saw myself on stage, and it shifted the way that I danced on stage and the way that I interacted. Even just the knowing that I was going to work the next day changed the way that I performed that night. And it was it had a really profound effect on me. And so the next day I go and I wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning to get my Sunset Park ass to the Bronx by noon so that I didn't have to pay the full house fee. And I worked for the first time, and it was one of those moments where like I had no idea what I was doing, and every single moment was weird and awkward, and I'm a really shy person, and it's hard to talk to people, and I realized on that first day, like, oh fuck, I have to talk to everyone. I was like, I thought I could just get up there and like shake my ass, and it's really not that easy. So the hardest part of the job was like learning how to talk to someone, and I think I even remember telling Joe Boobs, like, Joe, what am I supposed to talk to people about? And I think you gave me a lot of like really good tips at that time. So I did I had read all these like message boards about how to be a great stripper, and one of them was talk to everybody and always offer a dance. So I'm there my first day, and I'm looking around this giant club at noon, and I see one guy alone in the corner on this chair, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to like figure it out. I'm gonna have to get over the shyness and walk up to him and give him a dance. So I walk up and I was like, would you like a dance? No hi, no nothing. Would you like a dance? Not knowing anything, never given a lap dance my entire life. And he was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, no, I was like, of course he's gonna say no. Like, of course he doesn't want to dance. And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? And he like gets ready. And I was like, well, what do I do now? And I probably gave the worst lap dance of my entire career, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know where to step. I didn't know how to use the couch. I didn't know what to do with my body. I'd had a lot of lap dances, but I'd never given one. So I kind of knew half the story, but I didn't know the full story. And I did my best and realized that I loved connecting with people in that way, and that as awkward as that lap dance was, it actually became my favorite part of the job was lap dancing and connecting with people. And the hardest part was talking to people, but now it ended up that like it makes me so happy to have that connection with people. And my favorite part about working through the decade that I worked in strip clubs was connecting with people and having conversations and meeting people that I would never have met on my own in the real world, and connecting with them and feeling their energy and giving them a moment that they could remember for hopefully the rest of their lives. So. Thank you. So that was my first day. So next month you'll hear the last day stripping, 10 years later. Thank you so much. And with that, I would like to introduce our first storyteller of the evening. I've recently gotten to know them, and I am really just so excited to see their work, and I'm just thrilled to have them here. They came to Freddie's for the first couple shows, and I'm really happy to have them. I can't wait to hear what they say. Please give it up for Hinged.
Hello everyone, I'm Hinged. I use they, them pronouns. I'm not big into honorifics, but if you must, please use sir. Before I tell my story, I wanted to tell my story. Give you a little exposition about kind of how I ended up where I am now. The primary form of erotic labor that I do these days is burlesque. sometimes burlesque that is very influenced by drag, and sometimes drag that is very influenced by burlesque. I think those two art forms are pretty much always in conversation with each other. But I have also been, at a time, a sexy content creator, did the OnlyFans life for a while. In a variety of capacities, have sold imagery of a shocking number of different parts of my body. Parts that you might think to yourself, surely no one wants to see that, but boy oh boy they do. And done a lot of like pop-up strip clubs and lap dance parties and things like that, but I've never worked in a brick and mortar like the one that Peekaboo was just describing, although I share the sentiment that those truly are the baddest bitches, gender neutral, on earth. And that everyone should want to be them. It also, I want to say, you reminded me when you were talking about that moment where you were like at the front of the stage, oh my god, that's working, they're giving me money. And I thought to myself, like, what is the first time that I did some kind of sensual performance that people paid me for? And quite frankly, it was far too young. It was not, I didn't know it was going to happen. It was at my 6th grade dance, and it was 100% bullying. I was like, this music is everything, like I have to move my body, and I was just gyrating in, ways that were pleasant to me. And in 6th grade, when it's like very important to be good and normal, lest you be bullied into oblivion, I just hadn't learned that lesson yet. And some older boys, like 7th and 8th grade boys, came around me and started like throwing money at me. And I know that to them they were like, this fucking whore, like bully, blah blah blah, purity, stupid fuck. And that's exactly what they said verbatim, yes. But I was like, something very cool is happening. Like, the little narrator in my head was like, oh, this is formative, this is gonna matter later. And it did, as we can all see. So that was the first time that I got money for moving my body in a presumably erotic way. And it really did stick. A couple years later, I had several adults completely unprompted see the film Burlesque and say, I actually think you'd be pretty good at that. Which I don't know that that's the paragon of what burlesque is or should be, but I also felt it was very telling that even the adults in my life were like, something about you seems like it's going that way. So, I had a career in a variety of different performance areas and art forms, primarily as a vocalist, actually, someone really interested in musical theater, did a couple of different straight theater stuff, poetry, a little bit of clownery here and there, voiceover work, all kinds of different things. And while doing that, not ever getting any formal training in any of those disciplines, but being lucky enough to be around a lot of really talented people who acted as my peers and my mentors, I was also doing a very like strictly academic career path. I really thought I was going to be like working in some kind of either public policy or like research world or something philanthropic or some kind of service org. And while I was on that altruistic save the world girl boss path, everyone's life was interrupted by a pandemic, and my life that had already frequently been interrupted by chronic illness took like a turn for just the absolutely insane and very scary. I found myself in and out of hospital for a while. I ended up going through a lot of just kind of simultaneously difficult life experiences, not necessarily related to my physical health, and I had this moment of like, okay, what actually brings you joy? What do you care about? And in a really concrete and sort of logistical sense, like your body is not in a state that is capable of doing a 9-to-5 right now. You need to think of some alternatives. And some of those peers that I mentioned before, many of them were sex workers, again, in some capacity or other, and they too were like, maybe you should be, I don't know, it kind of seems like that's where you're aiming anyway. And I found myself also, because I had lost the job that I had based on all those health issues, also kind of in desperate need of cash. So the part of me that, adults could not get me to keep my clothes on pretty much my whole life. I really loved art, and body, right? And then also I like needed money yesterday. So so I started talking to some folks who were generous enough to like give me auditions and opportunities, and I got into some burlesque spaces and go-go dancing spaces, which led me into various like pop-up strip clubs and lap dance spaces, but again, never the brick and mortar. So I wasn't really familiar with a space that had like codified rules for relationships between the like dancers and the audience. Like I was not really in spaces that had even bouncers at all. So now the story that I'm going to tell you for realsies after all that ado is about this one night, this one gig that I had where I feel like I experienced sort of like maybe the best and worst that stripping has to offer, and also some like gross medical things too. So there was the disclaimer, the content warning at the beginning of like, if you have weird things to say about sex workers, get the fuck out. But also, if you have any like body horror problems, I'll lead. You'll know what's coming. Like it won't be a surprise. We'll get there, and it's really not that bad. But if you are sensitive, just be aware. So I was in a period of time in my life where I was gigging the whole time. Like that was the only way that I was making money, and I needed the money, so I was never saying no to anything. So like friend of a friend of a friend is like, hey, how about you do this gig in Ozone Park? I too am a Sunset Park person, so I hauled my ass all the way up to Ozone Park and found myself in this space that was like well and truly a bar, like not a club, but had an ample enough back seating area that presumably one could showcase some body yaddy yaddy back there. And it was me and two other dancers, and the format that had been described to us was like, the three of you will be dancing all night. So like, pace yourself, you're doing like go-go, you're doing sort of like enviro dancing. We do want you to be somewhat scantily clad, but this is not necessarily like a full nude space. This is not even really necessarily a topless space. If you want to do some takeoffs for the pizzazz, like that's okay as long as nipples are covered, but this is like a bar, more or less. And it had been rented out for some kind of, I have no idea what party it was, actually. The people there did not seem to know each other, but presumably some kind of party. It's like, you guys don't even look like you like each other. I don't know what's happening. And the three dancers, we like worked it out amongst each other. Okay, like we'll have two dancers on, one dancer off, so people can take breaks. And we worked out like, again amongst ourselves, wouldn't it be like really cool if we also all got a feature, like let's have some feature moments. And I thought, you know, it was very egalitarian, it was really nice, and this is maybe a highlight of some of the things that can be nice. Like, you can, not always, sometimes like stripping can be a very competitive and cutthroat environment, but like you can also find like a lot of camaraderie, especially when everything else around you is going so bad and weird. Like, okay, it's us three, we are in this together, we are the only sane thing in this sea of crazy, wacky shit. So we're doing this night, and it becomes very clear to us almost immediately that even though we thought we were at a bar, these people thought they were at some kind of like extras party, strip club back room, we can do whatever we want, no one has told us the rules experience. Like everybody is grabbing and touching, everybody is saying like out-of-pocket stuff. There's, you know, multilingualism can be very helpful when one is stripping, because occasionally people will pretend they don't know what no means, as if it's not the same in a lot of languages. Yeah, no, truly. And like, it was a hard night, so like, psychically, I mean, we were having these little check-ins periodically throughout the night, like, are we gonna even keep doing this? Like, this is pretty bad. But all of us were in the position of, like, me personally, my rent was due in 2 days, and I did not have it unless this night went very well. So I was like, we just gotta keep doing our best. And they are, at least so far, tipping fairly well. So that was good. Suddenly, someone set up this, like, makeshift, but still very visible, like, lap dance corner. And again, we were like, well, we have to make money, so I guess we're doing the lap dance corner now. And like, it was this very bizarre, like, surreal experience of, I'm having so much fun with these other dancers that I'm dancing with, but everything else that's happening, I don't know if it's good or bad. Again, because like, there was no like bouncer at this place. The chain of command in terms of being able to say like, hey, that one person has been saying racial slurs all night, I really don't know if I want to have to be so close to them anymore. Or, you know, all these different things. And it's just like, I was also very new. So me now, different scenario. I would have been like, you know what, and it's been really lovely seeing you all, and I'll see you maybe someday. But at the time I was really like, I have to be here, I have to do this work. And the other thing that I would like to note, many of you may look upon me and go, that's a gay, for sure, for sure. And when I was in this position, especially earlier in my career, like really taking off my clothes and shaking ass to make money, I felt a lot of pressure to perform a certain version of heteronormativity, shall we say, of like femininity more than I would normally be portraying. So there's all this like psychic weird shit happening, and everyone is getting like just weirder and weirder behaved. It was like the moon really came out, it got darker outside, people's behavior was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and it's time for my feature. So I'm like, you know what, F this. I'm gonna like stand on chairs, I'm gonna do crazy stuff, I'm gonna do tricks, and I'm gonna do it in a way where none of you motherfuckers can touch me, but you're all gonna love it, and it's gonna be so good. And I'm actually having the time of my life. The tables have turned, and I'm like, this is good again. This is really thrilling and wonderful again. I like lock eyes with one of the other dancers, and they're looking at me like, oh, yes, like yes, this is so good. We're having the best time ever. And I go to do this like awesome little jump split at the end of what I'm doing, because I'm like, that's the move. That's the right sound. The sound that you made is the right sound. Probably not for the body part you think, though. So I take this too big of a jump, and the issue with too big was not, oh, I'm not stretched well, I've hurt a hamstring. The issue with too big was not, oh goodness, my coochie has met the floor in a really unforgiving way. The issue with too big is that it changed my sense of where I was in space too much. And when I came down from this split, I slammed my toe with the full force of my body, which is, you know, ample, and gravity into a table, a solid wood table that did not move at all. And I didn't feel pain, but I like, have you ever heard a sound in your stomach? You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't my ears that heard that, it was like the gut heard that noise. And it was like this small explosion sort of sound. And again, like, I wasn't hurt, and that to me was the kind of the warning knell of like, oh, that didn't hurt, probably it's very bad. So I get up gracefully from this split. The other dancer, I'm about to go like relieve downstairs. We have to go downstairs, by the way, to get to where the sort of green room area is. And I walk down these rickety ass stairs with this like mop bucket at the bottom, like this tiny little labyrinth of all this exposed cement. The ceiling is dripping, I'm crouching, and I get into this room, I send the other girl up, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, my foot is kind of starting to hurt. I have like 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes down here max. What should I do? What should I do? And I'm a little bit scared. And I take off my shoe, because my toes were not out at this time, they were covered. I take off my shoe. And I take off my sock. I'm actually wearing a sock, isn't that fun? And I look at my foot, and several of my toes are already turning purple. Yes, and one of them, the longest boy, not the big toe, the next guy over, the next door neighbor, you know him, he is at a maybe 90-degree angle. Like the top knuckle is just fully to the side. Sort of like a groovy number 7 kind of, you know? And I'm no doctor, but that does not look correct to me. And I'm just like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do? Like, I have to finish out the night. There are like hours left of night. We're past the halfway mark, which is like good, but I'm like, there are hours left of night. And there are crazy motherfuckers up there, but I like have to make my bag. And I think also I was a little bit nervous, like, if I leave, will I get any of my money? This was, even though like we were getting to keep our tips, it was a split tip situation. So like at that moment in time, I didn't have any cash on me. It was all in a bucket somewhere else. And I had not been paid my base. I was like, if I go, do I get my money? So I'm like, okay, we have to stay. And at this point, the pain has reached a level that I'm like, okay, but I gotta do something. And I don't know why, I don't know what this is, again, I'm not a doctor, but there was something like in my body, and maybe it's just like media representations of like tough badasses in the wilderness, like popping their bones back into place, and I was like, that's what I've got to do. I've got to put it back. I've got to put it back, and that's the answer. So I take that sock that was on my foot, and I kind of like, I'm not gonna get my feet out, you guys have to pay extra for that, but imagine. Like I kind of wrap that effed up toe as much as I can, and I just grip it and rip it. I gave myself the countdown, you know, and they're like, okay, we're gonna count to 3, and then they always go early. You can't actually do that to yourself, but I did try. And right as I do this, the other dancer, not the one I had relieved, the third dancer, was coming down, I think maybe just like to get some water or something, not to do the full break, but they come down, and they hear, this is what they described, they heard, oh my God, what was that crack and that horrible mouse sound? Because I did not cry, and I did not scream, because I was like, if you cry and you scream, you will have alerted someone to the problem. But the sound I made was sort of like, followed by a very loud, motherfucker! But I had successfully put my toe back in alignment. Actually, yes, thank you. Successfully put my toe back in alignment, and then because I was wearing pasties that evening, I did have in my bag some top stick, which is what I used to tape my toes together. I've heard that's what you're supposed to do. This actually, though, fun fact, told to me by an actual doctor later, that really only works if the toe you tape it to is also not broken. So taping 2 broken toes together, like, not medically sound, I do not advise, but that's what I did. And then, again, I didn't put the sock on normally. I sort of, like, tried to stuff it to the front of my shoe to just kind of, like, create some cushion. And at this point, it did hurt very, very badly. It hurted in a way, it hurt it. And that's how bad it hurt. It hurt in a way that was, hitherto, at least for me, kind of not describable. Like, oh, like, it's just my freaking toe, but like a broken bone, it hurts different. But I had decided, like, I was like, you gotta go out there, you gotta do your thing. This other dancer was so unwell, seeing what I had done, and was like, I actually have to sit down now. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I went back upstairs. I danced on that toe for several more hours. This also really not fun, sort of to add insult to injury, because everyone was being handsy and very not well behaved that evening. After I had broken my toe, which also fun fact, in the moment I was like, it's probably not broken. I probably dislocated it just like really bad or something. So in my head I was like, this is fine. This is totally chill. In pain, dancing. I think still a lot of adrenaline going and just a lot of like determination. And at one point, this woman was like doing a lot of strange technique as far as tipping is concerned. Like instead of finding a garter or even handing it to me or like a strap somewhere else, she would like take the dollar flat on her hand and like try to stick the dollar to me somewhere, like my ass, my chest, whatever. She was like, here you go, which really not great to begin with. But she did one, and according to her, she missed. This woman straight up fingered me from behind. And what is amazing, I will say, just like the only thing more powerful than the pain of a broken toe is the rage of being surprise fingered. And I was like not in pain anymore. I turned around and I was like, what was that? This like dragon voice came out of me. And she was like, I'm just giving you money, honey. I was like, you're not gonna touch me again the rest of this evening. Thank you for your service. And so I did not get any more money from her, but I also did not get fingered again. So I guess, you win some, you lose some. This evening, the 3 dancers that performed that night, like, we really did bond very much. She's not here this evening, but my beloved Vivian Rose was one of the people that was there that night with me. We co-produce a show together now. We are very, very dear friends. Like, the joke is that we're sharing one brain cell, sort of just passing it back and forth. So I think that friendship was like very forged in the fires of some difficult experiences. And I remember like after the night wrapped up, and we all had kind of had like our own bad experiences that evening, there was this conversation kind of among the three of us. It was like, was that worth it? Like, I don't, like, you know? And because we had not gotten the payout yet, I said, well, we'll see. And just in case you were wondering, to me, personally, at the time, it was worth it, but it was also $500. So, to someone else, in a different phase of life, would it be worth it? Who's to say? But me at the time did need to pay rent, also did need to eat, and actually, fun fact, did need to go to the doctor.
Thank you so much, Anne. Yes. Give it up one more time for Anne. Yeah, I can relate. I think you've heard my story about breaking my leg at the strip club. So. We should have a whole injury night, maybe. Thank you so much for sharing. There's so much in there. I actually, one of the first strip clubs I ever went to, I was like 19 and I was in Germany, and you know, like at the time it's all coins, so you couldn't like you couldn't strip the tippers. You couldn't tip the strippers with coins, but you could buy like these dollhouse dollars, is what they called, and you could like lick them and like on the dancers, and they had like both male and female dancers. It was a really amazing club. I highly recommend it if you're in Hamburg. Okay, anyway, if it's still open. So we're going to take a slight break, but before we do, I would like to introduce our good friend, the raffle. So this is where we get lots of fun treats, and you can buy raffle tickets from me, and 50% of the raffle money goes to Sex Workers Project, and 50% goes to these sex workers. So your money is going to good places. There are 2 raffle prizes today. The first one is a hand screen printed bag. I made these yesterday. Listen to Sluts, which is the theme of the show, because everyone should be listening to us more often. Inside the bag, you get 2 tickets to next month's show, or a future Tales from the Strip if you want to come back, which I know you do. A 8x10 of me, photographed by Ellen Stagg. Oh, perfect. Yes, we can both sign it. A couple packets of these internal condoms from Please in Brooklyn. There's a pair of pasties in here that I didn't make, and and you get a t-shirt. So I also made some t-shirts. They didn't turn out as nice as the bags. But you get to pick whichever one you think is the best for you. So, you know, we're all learning new skills. Okay, so this is the first bag. So that's the Tales from the Strip bag. The second raffle prize, which we do every month, is a lap dance from me. Right here on this stage, because it's my favorite thing to do. So you're going to want to watch it, and you're going to want to experience it. I promise you. So I'll be coming around while you're getting drinks from the bar. I'll be coming around with the raffle tickets. They are, I butcher this every single month. I can't do math. I can only do multiples of 20. So it's 1 for 3, 2 for 5, 10 for 10, and 20 for a body wrap. 25, this is the Tales from the Strip, thanks for likes. The inseam, I will measure your inseam like a tailor. That's 25. I'll get all of them in. Okay, so I'll come around. I take Venmo and PayPal and whatever else you feel like giving me. So there you go. Get a drink. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Hello. So I hope you had a great break and you went and got a new drink and raffle tickets and all of that. We are back. How's everybody feeling? Great. I'm really excited. So I'm gonna get right into it. Our next storyteller I've known for a very long time. I think we both outed ourselves on like a gig like over 10 years ago. We were like, wait, you're a stripper? I'm a stripper. It was like one of those secret conversations. I think we were in like Florida or Key West or something, right? Yeah. And so it was a bonding experience of our secret stripperdoms. So I'm really excited I adore your work and all of the, this is Chris Harder. He's an incredible performer and playwright and overall smarty pants. He's working on a PhD. He's gonna be Dr. Harder. Amazing. Okay, so, well, with that, let's give it up. Let's hear Dr. Harder's story.
Wow. Thank you, Peeks, and thanks, everyone. Let's see if I can, how many gays does it take to, no? Okay, we'll do that. All right. Okay, everyone, this is a story I wrote out, and it's called The 88. The 88, I had been told, was a club where a boy could make his fortune. A lap dance lounge where the ubiquitous but still enigmatic champagne room practically overflowed with cash, where the doorman had to safely escort dancers into their cabs at the end of the night, so flushed with tips they didn't dare travel home by subway. I made so much money I almost bought a fur coat, Wyatt bragged to me. It was a particularly slow night at the Cock in the East Village, and Wyatt and I lazily toe-touched in place over the bar top. For context, I was still pretty green at this point in my go-go dancing career and had no experience yet with lap dance clubs. Instead, I worked at gay bars where I got paid a base for dancing for 4 or 5 hours, plus whatever tips I could earn. At the Cock, the base was, and still is, $60. But regardless of the fee, every dancer had to develop their own technique for getting tipped. It is one of those studied citational practices that is not as dependent on luck so much as it is on how well you read other people reading and wanting your body, or not. I focused my own method on those guys who were too shy to stare, but bold enough to hover just within the red luminescence of the Cock's neon rooster. I'd raise my left eyebrow mischievously, flash a smile, and direct the momentum of my hips or the vortex of my ass in their direction. While not an exact science, frequently enough, a man would emerge from the crowd, and after a few minutes of admiring or fondling, he'd deposit his tips in my socks or the pouch of my jockstrap, or, if I really liked him, between my butt cheeks. In the industry, we called that the reverse ATM. So I can be clear, I loved go-go dancing. It was sexual but social, exhibitionistic yet intimate, my introduction into the gig economy of New York, where I no longer had to commit myself to the confines of a 9-to-5 schedule and the exhausting grind of the food service industry. With go-go dancing, I fluttered from bar to bar as a semi-nude free agent. Sometimes when I wasn't working but wanted to go out, I would run up to the front of a winding line outside of a club and with a panicked look on my face, flash my jockstrap at the bouncer and exclaim, "I'm working tonight and I'm late." Access was usually granted. Even when I actually was working, I could space out and dream up ideas for plays or run lines for monologues in my head, and when I needed to, I would let gravity sink me back down into the hands of a stranger and complete another transaction. Unlike waiting tables or even auditioning, most nights go-go dancing, I felt like myself, and my booking and my tips were because I acted like myself. Of course, not every night at the Cock was a thrilling, self-affirming marketplace. The bar had a $10 minimum cover charge even on weeknights and could be a hard sell on a Tuesday, which was always my night. On that particular Tuesday with Wyatt, the crowd was not only slim, but my tried and true combination of eyebrow smile, ass shake seemed to be less alluring for some reason. Too drunk or too much self-esteem, Wyatt observed of the few stragglers. At the 88, lap dances start at $100, he oozed. If I had paid more attention, I might have asked Wyatt why he was still go-go dancing at the Cock instead of raking in cash at the 88, but like I said, I was, and still am, a pretty gullible person. Before I could reply to Wyatt, though, a patron quickly stuck what felt like a wad of cash in my go-go sock before patting my calf and quickly walking away. Vibrating back to life, I excitedly reached down to grab the tip, only to discover it was a folded up €5 note with a streak of dried blood down its crease. Okay, I said, how do I get into the 88? As I soon discovered, the answer to that question was almost as difficult as selling a lap dance. Unlike my regular gigs, the 88 charged a house fee of $60, the same rate I was paid to dance at the Cock. But Wyatt had assured me that most dancers made back their money within their first hour. Just do your little butt thing, sweetie, he encouraged. Now at the club's threshold, my problem wasn't the 88's house fee, but the fact that the doorman was trying to cheat me into paying it twice. I literally just paid you, I said, hoping he had somehow forgotten while my backpack was being searched, even though I was the only dancer in the lobby. Magically, the manager of the 88 appeared. A brick in a three-piece suit. Hey, if there's a problem, leave. This was obviously not a flash or jockstrap and go kind of situation. I'm a friend of Wyatt's, I tried again. As if in chorus, both doorman and manager simultaneously replied, who the fuck is Wyatt? I was too stunned to respond, and it was too late to try and dance somewhere else. I handed over another $60. Once inside, the 88 was smaller than I had imagined, roughly the same size as the Cock, which was basically a cement garage with a bathroom. In place of the Cock's deconstructed charm, the 88 consisted of a sunken lounge dotted with a few padded footstools, a tiny mirrored stage, and an even smaller bar. To my far right, and elevated by a small set of stairs, a dark red velvet curtain signified the entrance to the champagne room, the mystique of which was further heightened by matching velvet ropes and two glittering stanchions. At that moment, the lounge was packed with dancers, and even though I had worked at several bars across the East Village and Chelsea, I was not prepared for the sea change of these bodies. These dancers were statuesque, athletes, bodybuilders, the abundance of muscle on display matched only by a collective attitude of cockiness verging on boredom. Instead of the jockstraps Wyatt and I wore at the Cock, the dancers sported expensive-looking Speedos or Calvin Klein underwear or, most perplexing, boxer briefs. These guys look like they're straight, I thought. And as it turned out, many of them were. If I had felt over my head at the entryway to the 88, I was now quickly sinking into the quicksand of its plush carpet. 3 hours later, I was now $115 in the hole, thanks to an elderly man in pressed khaki shorts who gave me $5 to stop talking to him. As hard as I tried to smile and flirt, I just couldn't find my groove. At the Cock, the crowd was always a mix of East Village regulars and Times Square tourists, and basically people who were very horny and very happy to remunerate. But at the 88, the energy was wolfish, vulpine. I watched a dancer in a lime green Speedo hover near a client whose face was almost entirely obstructed by a Yankees baseball cap. Green Speedo arched his back and flexed his ass, cheating out just enough so that he could glance over his shoulder. In response, Yankees baseball cap tilted his chin up so that the horizon line of his eyes barely peeked out from his bill. Speedo shrugged as if bored, shifting weight to inflate his other ass cheek, and then he walked away. Instead of following him, though, baseball cap slowly rose to his feet and took the opposite route of the dancer. Serendipitously, they rendezvoused a minute later on the steps of the champagne room, where with the flourish of a 24-hour chaplain, the manager instantly rematerialized and ushered them through the velvet passageway. Don't get me wrong, I was impressed. If present me could have somehow spoken to old me in that moment, I might have used one of those expensive academic words and said something like, the ontology of the lap dance isn't seduction, it's deception. Except this was a lap dance club, and even present me knows that old me knew that no one gave a fuck about what ontology meant. Suddenly, someone touched me on the shoulder. Excuse me. Startled, I turned around to see a muscular man in an Eddie Bauer t-shirt and cargo pants. God, these dancers are really straight, I thought. Are you free? The man sputtered. Are you available now? It took me several seconds to realize that not only was he asking me for a lap dance, I had been pacing outside of the champagne room. Most strippers and dancers will tell you that every so often you get a client that makes you feel like you should be paying them. I would pretend that I don't know why we say that, but I think it's actually pretty obvious. Despite beauty being the most banal, the most random, the most conventional, if not inadequate vector of a person's worth, it is usually the currency with the highest purchase when you are selling sex. And this man, who was a construction worker from Orange, New Jersey, who was not out to his friends or family, and who, despite feeling out of place as I did, was the most expensive looking person in the 88. As my eyes adjusted to the interior of the champagne room, it struck me less like a room and more like the champagne shed. There was a small bench, a box, and a cheap glass table holding the wilted petal of a condom wrapper. I don't really want a lap dance, the man said. Once again realizing I had no clue about the unspoken rules of this world, I replied, okay. What do you want? Just do what feels natural, dude. The irony, of course, is that nothing about that moment, or for that matter, the entirety of the 88 felt fucking natural to me. But looking at the go-go box again, I said, I'm just going to dance. So I did. For the first song, and then the next one, and then the next one. Every time a song ended, I expected the man to get up and leave, but he just sat on the bench and watched. Sometimes smiling, many times scanning my body, but rarely looking me in the eyes. How do you feel, he finally asked, as he bought a fourth lap dance and ordered a beer. Now, just in case you thought I was going to go there, this is not the gay version of Pretty Woman. I don't end this story hoping Mr. Construction Worker will whisk me back to his palace in Orange, New Jersey, or even that he'll come visit me in the cock. He didn't. How did I feel? Stupid that I'd ever thought I could trust Wyatt? Sexy, having hundreds of dollars spent on me? Relieved that I would make back the money stolen from me at the door? Of course. But most of all, I felt that feeling that I had in those first few years of go-go dancing in gay bars, when I was still fresh in New York, when the rules I had originally arrived with were suddenly diffused by the light of the ATM, when working in nightlife was of course about chasing beauty and selling sex, but also the time it could buy you to think through your next steps as you danced in place on a bar top. I actually don't even remember now what I said to him, but what I'm trying to say to you is, at that moment, I just felt like myself.
I love mixing storytelling and writing. It's such a nice flow, and it is true that some of those customers can be really magic, and you don't know why. You're just like, I like you. That's great. So our next storyteller is a dear friend of mine, and she is a photographer. Sex worker adjacent. So one of the things, not everyone in the show will be a stripper, but everyone in the show will have some sort of work in the adult industry. So I think it's really important to feature everyone that works in the adult industry. We can't always put that on Instagram, so it's Tales from the Strip, but it's really Tales from the Sex World. So this is Ellen Stagg. And I have had the pleasure of her photographing me naked, and she has, and you can buy her book up front with all kinds of people naked. She's an incredible pornographer. Can I call you a pornographer? An incredible pornographer, and I can't wait to hear her story from behind the lens.
I'm double fisting, so give me a second.
Yes!
One of them's just water, but still.
Stay hydrated.
Exactly. It's hot out there.
Yes.
And I'm middle-aged, so I need these. Also, give me a little bit of grace because I'm dyslexic, so.
Yes, dyslexia.
Thank you. About 15 years ago, Playboy TV discovered my work, and I was part of a segment of one of their shows called Badass. I would photograph a different model doing a badass stunt, and I would interview this model while shooting. This was Playboy TV's take on Jackass. However, these stunts were done by hot Playboy models who started out scantily clad and took it all off. Some of these stunts were cliff diving, horseback riding, driving a tractor in a field, fire poi, and a foam machine on a roof in Brooklyn. I produced, starred, hosted, and photographed these models in 17 segments for Playboy TV, which was an amazing job, and they paid me and my team very well. They published my photo sets after the episode aired on Playboy.com, and you can see them to this day on Playboy Plus. Just search my name. This is, yeah, okay. Because of this work I did for Playboy TV, Playboy Magazine, and Playboy.com were also interested in hiring me. Oops, sorry, slipping. At this time, even though Playboy was one company, these three departments, TV, print magazine, and online, were three different offices. Playboy Print Magazine wanted to hire me to shoot JWoww from the Jersey Shore. But it didn't happen. Very upsetting about not shooting any kind of celebrity, as it heightens your portfolio in the eyes of others, but oh well. Playboy.com did call to hire me, and they wanted me to create content with a very popular playmate. And not just any playmate, but she had even won Playmate of the Year. I will not mention this model's name on record, but if you really want to know who she is afterwards, you can tip me or buy my book, and I will show you a photo from that shoot. I have learned from sex workers, money, 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 money. Thank you. But of course, I will show you this photo off the record, as you will soon find out why. I got on the phone with a photo editor from Playboy.com, and as they described the different kind of photo sets they wanted from me, he said to me, I have never said this to any other photographer, do whatever you want.
Wow.
We want you and your eye be as creative as you wish. This almost never happens from big companies, but I was stoked. I had a very big budget for the shoot, so I found a location, I hired a wardrobe stylist, and a makeup artist. They told me they were sending their behind-the-scenes camera person to capture video for their site. I was staying with a friend in LA who actually got me sick, and I was coughing this entire trip. I hoped I didn't get anybody else sick, but mind you, this was 15 years ago, way before pandemics, So I showed up to work regardless. The model arrived to the shoot and gave off vibes that she did not want to be there. I tried to have small talk with her and she was completely not interested. She had gotten a breast augmentation and I think Playboy wanted photos of her new boobs. The makeup artist started working on her face and the stylist laid out the clothes. Since I was given carte blanche to do whatever I want, my team and I went for a more editorial 70s look and less early 2000s Playboy. It was smoky makeup, leg warmers, shots on a hammock with flowers in her hair. You know, classic. The video guy started asking me all these questions and not the playmate. And then I realized, oh, this photo shoot is not about the Playboy star. It was about cute 30-year-old me. I was flattered, but I'm used to being behind the camera more. And when this guy was asking me questions on mic, I couldn't stop coughing. And I sounded like Harvey Firestein with a deep, raspy smoker's voice thanks to being sick that entire week. The model disappeared for about 15 minutes and came back, and we shot the 3 sets we were hired to do. This was a buyout, which means Playboy would own the content. I gave up my copyright, which was fine with me because it was great money. With most of these big porn companies, as I have shot for Penthouse and now work for Hustler, the photos I gave Playboy.com were unretouched as they have in-house retouching. After the shoot, I was completely hands-off. My whole team had a blast and I thought the pictures turned out amazing. I was proud of my work. I really believed it was a job well done, until about a month later, I saw they finally announced that my photos were going to be on Playboy.com. I was so excited knowing shoots like this can open doors, and it seemed like a real breakthrough for my career. To be able to do more work for the company. I had a login to see my photos, and I loved how they edited my work. I felt so proud to be an official Playboy photographer that I announced it on Twitter. Within the next 24 hours, these photos were all of a sudden missing from their site.
What?
I was still telling people to go check them out, but nothing was there. I emailed the photo editor who hired me and asked him what happened. He called me back and told me this model was very upset about the photo shoot. See, when she left that day for those 15 minutes, she called him and said she didn't want to do the shoot with me. The photo editor told her, well, everybody there is getting paid if you do the shoot or not. He then told me that she had approval rights before they went up on the website. They wanted her to interview me because this was a segment about me as a female photographer. I peaked in my early 30s. I was very cute back then, and I guess because I was already a host on Badass, Playboy.com also wanted a video segment of me. This is why when she came to the shoot, she had a chip on her shoulder before we even got started, because this shoot wasn't about her, it was about me. I guess the photo editor telling me I could shoot her however I wanted for Playboy.com was to highlight my work, and this was a bad idea. However, when the photo editor tried to show the model the photos before putting them on Playboy.com, she never got back to him. He put this first set of images up thinking she didn't care anymore, but she was pissed and called Hugh Hefner himself and had the pictures taken down. She hated them that much and tweeted out to her fans how she felt horrible for disappointing them with such bad photos because they weren't Playboy caliber, literally on Twitter. Hugh Hefner had to have seen these photos before they were posted, as this was his site, and he was in charge of everything back then. But after she called him and pleaded, he took them down. The photo editor apologized to me, but Hef was the last say. I was devastated and beyond embarrassed. Not only were my photos not used, which was a shitty feeling, but this model had a fan who wrote an entire blog post about how I was a terrible photographer and how I abused her because I wanted her to spread her legs like a Penthouse model. They depicted this in a cartoon of me looking like a massive butch And they took one of the photos from the set and even explained how I was horrible at retouching. Remember, I wasn't allowed to do the retouching. That was on Playboy.com. And this photo he used as an example is still floating around the internet today, and why I have it saved to show you if you're interested later. Sorry, I lost my place. I contacted the photo editor of Playboy magazine and Playboy.com saying, if I can't use the photos and you can't use the photos, why can this fan use them to slander my work and my name? This was Playboy's copyrighted work, so of course they contacted the fan on their behalf and of guess mine. It was nice for them to stand up for me, but I felt like the damage had already been done. They sent him a cease and desist, and he took down the blog post and the photo. That day, I was set up to fail. I never worked for any of Playboy's companies ever again, but I guess I follow in the footsteps of the brilliant Suze Randall, who also got blacklisted from Playboy back in the day, and then worked famously for Hustler magazine. I, too, am proud to say Hustler has been my client for the past 5 years.
Yes, give it up for Ellen Stagg. That's great. I mean, great story. Horrible. Fuck Playboy. Fuck Playboy. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's nice to hear like the other side of the business in that aspect. I didn't know any of that kind of stuff. So that's the show. Thank you so much. We're not quite done yet because we have the raffles to give. But I do want to say thank you for listening to Sluts all evening. And we're going to do the first raffle for the bag, the 2 tickets, the 8x10, the t-shirt, all the stuff, the condoms, and all of it. Okay. So this is the bag of all of your tickets. So get them ready. Yeah, do you want to pick the here? Put your hand in there. Fist that bag. Fist it. Oh yeah. Oh, pick a good one. I have my old lady glasses on all the time. So 794 658.
Oh, so that's me. Yes!
Here you go.
I love you.
Okay. And this one is for the lap dance. Who's gonna be the lucky winner of the lap dance? Who wants to fist a bag of sluts?
Slap it on her forearm. First job. Bring it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. This one? Okay. 794 6
No.
4 4.
Oh my God.
All right. So we're going to need, these are not lap dance conducive. Would my lovely bride bring up a shorter chair? Everybody, this is Raka. She is my wife. She is the one who keeps me sane because I'm terrified of talking on a microphone. So, but I'm learning. But she keeps me all together. So, couldn't do it without her. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh, and I would like to say, Anne would like to plug their show.
Yes, hello. If you thought what I did was cool at all, and and you like strippers, as I believe you all do, you should come to my show at Freddy's Bar and Back Room this Thursday! $15 at the door, or if you scan this code, you can buy a cheaper ticket online.
They're great performers, so you really should go. And Freddy's is a super cute bar that we started this show in, so Freddy's is near and dear to my heart. All right, Pace, where are you?
I'm right here.
Okay. A Tales from the Strip regular. You've been to almost all of them. And you finally won the lap dance. Let's clear the set. Rocca, would you play something really amazing? Maybe My Era stripper. And that's why we do it, folks. And I forgot to put pasties on, so you're welcome. Thank you all for coming. This show is a dream, and I'm so happy the room is so full. I am so grateful for all of you. And this is now second Tuesday of the month, from now until whenever. So come back next month. It's August 9th. And we have Miss Miette and Artina Darkley and another amazing performer, Aurora Borealis. So we're gonna have an amazing night next month. So come back for August 9th and hear more crazy stories. Is it 12?
Yes, it's the 12th.
Crap! Oh, it's a September 9th. Okay, August 12th. August 12th. See, numbers. August 12th. Second Tuesday of the month. Second Tuesday of the month. All right. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
G's at the center from the scenes, double check my